welcome to the second episode of Candid with Crotonia. I am your host Shreya, and with me is our today's co-host Arush. Our guest for today's episode is Swastik Singh sir, who is currently an SDE at Nference. He was the coordinator of the machine learning wing of Axios, the Technical Society of IIIT Lucknow. Sir was greatly involved in dramatics too. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Sir, could you tell us something about Nference?
Okay, so Inference is a startup. It is an American startup based on biotech. So what it is working on it is uh, there's a lot of historic medical data that is not computable. There are scans, there are videos, there are photos, handwritten notes by doctors that is not computable. So this company is working to make the historic medical data computable and also develop algorithms on top of that data to assist all the researchers in developing new drugs and also the doctors in treating the patients better.
Hmm, great. Would you walk us through your placement story at Inference?
Okay, so during the placement season, I was part of the core placement team. So, and being part of the core placement team has its own perks and disadvantages also. So, on the perk side, I was already aware that this company, Inference, was going to visit our campus, and I already had done my research that how good its present employees are and what this company is working on, what its project is. But for the drawback, being in the placement team creates a lot of pressure on you at the time of the peak time of the placement season when all of your batchmates are working hard, preparing for the interviews and the coding tests. At that time, you not only have to keep your preparation up to their level but also call the companies for campus placement. You also have to give a lot of time to that work. It's a tiring as well as a depressing process. So my placement story was, the complete placement season was very tiring, but the reward was fruitful.
So, sure, that's an interesting story. So, would you highlight anything specific in that process?
In that process, I was rejected three times in interviews of three different companies, and it was very depressing when you yourself call those companies. You see your batchmates get placed, and you get rejected, and on the next day, you again have to motivate yourself to call more companies so that you can get placed. So that was a very depressing but a good experience as I learned how to face rejections and motivate myself on the very next day.
Definitely something to be taken care of. Could you tell us some more about what projects you would be working on specifically?
Okay, so my project, as I already told you, that this company is working to make this biohistoric medical data computable. So my project is basically on making the text data computable. So what we are doing in our project is we are taking a huge amount of text data. It is approximately 1 billion or something, 1 billion to 2 billion text documents. We take every text document, we process it, and we have to create a distributed system because you cannot work on this huge data on just one computer. We have approximately 80 AWS high-end machines, and we have to make a distributed system so that every machine gets equal amount of data. No machine gets more data than it is capable of. So we our job is to make this distributed system and in the end process all the documents successfully.
So, throughout the 4 years, first, what motivated you to keep to be good in coding, and then through the placement season, what motivated you to not give up and just try?
Okay, so uh, if I be honest, then the main motivation is getting a good job a good fat paycheck at the end of the placement season. That's the real motivation of everyone. And anyone who says otherwise is probably lying. Right? So and why should not we be aspire of a good job? We have worked hard all our life to get in a good college. And why did we want to get in a good college at the first place? Only because of the opportunities that we'll get in a good college. And when the time comes to benefit of those opportunities, then why one should be sluggish? So that was the main reason, motivation for me to work hard, because we have worked hard all of our lives. Why slack off when the real opportunity comes?
That's definitely true, sir. At last, would you like to give any piece of advice to our listeners?
Here's a piece of advice. Okay, the only piece of advice I want to give is don't overestimate or underestimate any of your batchmates. Everyone is capable of, though they are not working hard enough in the first or second year, but everyone is a good student. Everyone is capable, and anyone can work hard uh, at any time. So never underestimate any of your batchmate that this student won't get placed, or don't overestimate any of your superstar coders. In the end, it's all about the 3 hours of interview process. No interviewer knows who the superstar coder of your batch is, and no interviewer knows who is not that good enough in his college life. So all you have to do is nail that 3 hours of interview process and be confident.
Thank you, sir. That was a great piece of advice, and thank you for joining us here. It was really great to have you on convo with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.